I'm filming at a weird time today. It's like a weekday in the afternoon, so we're just going to have to get through this truck that's been idling outside of my apartment for like 3 hours together because I am not waiting for it to leave because I don't think it's ever gonna leave. So we're gonna have some lovely background noise in this video. It'll be fine. It will be perfectly fine. Today I'm going to be doing the Boujee Booktuber Tag, which I was tagged by Aisha from Mama Loves Manga, which I love her and I love her channel so much, so please check her out if you're into manga. Even if you're not into manga, please check her out because I think she's fantastic. So let's just go ahead and see if I'm bougie or not. Side note, I definitely don't spell bougie the way that this tag is spelled. I spell it like this. And so I was really weird when I saw it spelled like this. I don't know, maybe I'm just too old. That's totally possible, but I will definitely leave the creator of this tag down in the description, so check that video out as well. First question is, what is your monthly budget for books? I don't have one because I don't buy books. I have bought 2 books in 2019, and those were the first books. Wow. Okay, I live in a city and there's literally construction on my street right now, plus all of the construction all around me, so we're just gonna have to deal with this. I don't buy books at all. I read most of my books from the library because I am cheap and I don't like spending money. So I don't really, unless I really love the book, like the 2 books that I bought this year were Fruits Basket, there, somewhere-ish, probably there. But I bought those because I absolutely love that series so much and I want to own the whole collection, and even then I didn't buy the full collection right away. I only bought the first 2 volumes, so I really don't like spending money, so I definitely don't have a monthly budget for books. Question 2 is, what's the most you've ever spent in a bookstore? I think the only times I've really spent a lot of money in the bookstore, I was very young. And at that point it wasn't my money because my dad was paying for my books. No, even then, my dad has always told me to buy books online because you don't have to deal with tax in bookstores. And that was mainly when we were going to things like Borders and Barnes & Noble, which Borders, I wish Borders was back. I love Borders so much. It's so much better than Barnes & Noble. Besides the point, so I never really bought books from Barnes & Noble or Borders as a kid or as an adult because it was just instilled in me to buy things online instead. If we're going with online bookstores, I've probably spent, I don't know, like 40 bucks. I really don't buy a lot. And that was probably at Book Outlet because all of those books are very cheap. I think I got like 11 books in that order and it was like 40 bucks. And the only reason I spent that much is because I want free shipping, which is the only reason I buy books in the first place when I was younger. On Amazon, when you used to have to spend $25 to get free shipping, my dad would probably be buying some other random stuff that we need and then need to meet the $25 quota, and he's like, all right, give me a book that you want, and he put that on the list, and that's how I ended up buying my books as a kid. So I have never really spent much in bookstores. I guess in person I've probably spent maybe like 15 bucks on a single book or 2 books. And then online around 40 bucks. So I don't spend a lot of money on books. I think we can see where this video is heading. Question 3 is, are you willing to pay full price for a brand new book, or will you wait until there's a sale or a coupon? Definitely the sale or coupon. I don't buy new books ever. I pretty much only buy used books because I am cheap and I want cheap books. So I will never buy a new release. If there's a new release I want to read, I will get it from the library. Even if it's an old release I want to read, I will most likely get it from the library. But if I was going to buy the book, I would definitely wait for a sale or a coupon or find it from a used bookstore or something. Question 4, would you rather buy 1 new book or several less expensive books? Can you guess my answer? Several less expensive books. For sure. I would much rather buy multiple books at a cheaper price than get 1 new release. Again, I use my library quite often. I think probably 90% of my books come from the library that I read during the year, so it's not very surprising that I wouldn't be into buying a brand new book rather than multiple used books. I'm not someone who really cares about reading the brand new releases either. I have a ton of books on my backlog that I really want to read that came out ages ago, but I'm still interested in them, so I really don't mind not getting the brand new book right away because I've had a bunch of other books on my list for longer that I've been excited about for longer. So I'm totally fine with just buying old books at used copy prices. Seriously guys, these trucks. Number 5 is, what do you think is a reasonable price for a new hardback, a new paperback, or an ebook? Again, I don't have much experience with buying books really, especially when they're new. So I have never bought a hardback in my life because, again, I was taught very young that you wait for the paperback to come out because it's cheaper. And so I never really liked hardbacks, and I still don't like hardbacks, probably because I grew up reading paperbacks. So I love paperbacks and I will always buy paperbacks. I will not buy hardback books except for Name of the Wind, but that was because I went to a special event and I got it signed and it was like a brand new release and over that. So if it's a book that I really love and I'm going for like an event or something, I will buy a hardback. Otherwise, I will 100% wait for the paperback. So I have no idea what hardback prices would be. I know they're absolutely ridiculous. In my ideal world, the pricing for all of these would be, maybe a hardback would be 20 bucks. A paperback, I would say like 9 bucks, and an ebook would be like 5. I know those are completely under what they're currently priced at. But again, I am very cheap, so that's what I would be willing to pay, which is why I don't actually buy anything because it's way above what I'd be willing to pay. I know there's a whole thing about that not being feasible, having everything that cheap, and it is a business that needs to keep growing, but this is my tag, this is my video, these are the prices that I would love to see, even if it's not feasible. I can do whatever I want in my own video. Question 6 is a signed book worth more to you? How about a first edition? I honestly don't care at all about first editions. I don't know what the hype is about first editions, actually. My dad collected a bunch of Stephen King first editions and he has them all sitting on his bookshelf. It's worth quite a bit at this point, but I don't see the point. I don't buy books in order to sell them later, so I don't care about first editions. As for signatures, they don't really make it worth more in my eyes. I have a few books with signatures, and that's because I went to events, so those books are more special to me, but I don't think that it makes the monetary value anymore. Maybe a slightly sentimental, but if I were to pick up a signed book in a used bookstore, I wouldn't really think it's any different from a not signed book because I wasn't the one who got that signature and I don't have that memory. So the main worth in those books for me is the memory of going and meeting the author and getting that signature myself. So I guess they don't really have that much worth to me unless I was the one who actually got it signed. For example, like my Name of the Wind copy, I went to an event and I got that signed, and then also my Dan and Phil, I've gotten, did I get both of these signed? I feel like I got both of these signed. I've seen Dan and Phil in person many, many times, and I'm pretty sure this is the one that I got signed. So I have that memory of going and meeting them and getting it signed. So that makes it more special to me, but just regular signatures, when I wasn't the one to get them, don't really. I mean, it's like you're giving an extra value to a book because they've touched it themselves, which at that point just gets kind of creepy. So, these trucks though, get off my street. I wonder what it'll be like when I finally move into a house. Maybe I'll get creeped out from lack of noise. Who knows? I'll find out. Of course, I lived in a house when I was younger, so that doesn't even... Anyway, question 7 is, what is your most valuable book, sentimental or actual value? I don't really know. I don't really have a strong sentimental attachment to any of these, except maybe like my signed copies, but even then it's not that much. The memory is more in my head rather than attached to the book itself. None of these really have sentimental value. Maybe this one, but that's very specific because it's a book that my boyfriend made of pictures of us. He gave this to me for Christmas like last year. So I guess technically this one, it's not a book that you can buy because it's mine and very particular to me. But I guess this would be it. I don't have anything else that has any sentimental value. I don't have anything that was like given to me as a child or anything, especially not here. The books that I brought to this apartment when I moved are books that I hadn't read yet, so they weren't really gifts to me, or they didn't really have any previous meaning. As far as actual value, I mean, in terms of, I guess, what other people would consider actual value, I guess my Name of the Wind would be, because this is the first edition signed copy of the 10th anniversary of Name of the Wind. Other than that, I don't think any of these have extra value, except maybe my back here's the Calvin and Hobbes collection, but that's like more than one book. That's the complete collection, and it was expensive. But that's not just one book either. So I don't really have a very expensive book, I guess, and I don't have a very sentimental book. I don't know, I guess I'm just, I don't really have much value in my books. I buy a lot of secondhand books. Question 8 is, will you pay more for a cover or edition you like better? This one is interesting because I think I would, actually, because if I'm going to spend the time and the money to actually buy a book in the first place at all, I am going to buy the one that I like, most likely. That was the case with the Mistborn books. I have the UK editions because I think they're so much prettier than the American editions. I didn't buy those books personally. They were given to me as a gift, but I put that particular one on my wish list. So I guess that sort of counts. I don't know. If I'm going to buy a book, I will definitely buy the edition I want, whether it costs more or not. I think that's the only question I've answered so far that's more on the bougie side. Everything else is definitely not bougie. Question 9 is, what physical characteristics does a good quality book have? And Aisha's video, her answer for this was great. I completely agree with her, and it made me laugh so hard. So if you haven't seen it, go watch her answer for this question. Other than that, I guess I really like when books are able to open flat, and I guess sort of like that. This is my my video notebook, so it has all of my questions in here and all of my other video note stuff. Now you know. But this opens really nicely and flat. It's not going to break the spine or anything. I think it's, what is it, like sewn? They have that a lot in bullet journals as well, so that they lay flat. I really like when they lay flat, as long as it doesn't just like tear really thin pages or the cover or anything. I think as long as it's made of a sturdy enough material, it's pretty good quality. I don't really beat up my books. I used to when I was a kid. A lot of my old fantasy books have really broken spines and ripped covers and stuff, so I'm not too rough with them anymore. So as long as it just doesn't like fall apart on its own, I think it's fine. I also have no problem buying these secondhand books that are kind of beat up as well. I think that's how I got my, this book that my cousin actually gave to me. It's a little bit beat up. This is Elantris. I am having trouble because I am sitting on a spinny chair and I don't actually have my feet down, so I'm just like moving myself with my hands. So this bit is a little bit like beat up along the spine. That's fine. I mean, it still reads. As long as you can read it, I think it's still a good quality book. I don't mind having like a more beat up looking anything. This one's not even that bad. I have a lot of really worse ones. But I'm not too picky about the quality of my books, as long as they don't do what Aisha's did in her video. I've never had that happen to me, by the way, so that was really interesting to see. Question 10 is, if you won the lottery, what bookish things would you do with the money? Firstly, I would buy a house so that I could have an actual reading room, and that would be perfect. That's a bookish thing, right? Creating a whole room for reading, a library. Oh my god, I want a library with a comfy chair and a piano and an aquarium and just like a wall of books. That would be great, even though I don't buy books, so I don't know how I would fill that up yet. Besides the point. I would also want to finish my fruits basket collection, and that would be one thing. It's not even that expensive that I would need a lottery to finish it, but I am very cheap if you didn't get that, so having that extra lottery money would actually make me feel better about buying the whole collection all at once. So there's that. But other than that, tying into the bonus question, which is give us an image, mental or actual, of your dream library, I would definitely spend that money on getting a house, upgrading all of my stuff, getting more room so I can spread out and have a comfy chair to read my books in the corner next to a window. I have a few really amazing like pins on Pinterest of beautiful libraries that I would love, like definitely never going to happen, but I would not mind having this or this or this. It's just, it's so pretty and it makes me so happy. So those would be my dream libraries. We'll see what actually happens. Definitely not any of those, but I can dream at least. But that's it. Those were all of the questions, and I think you can definitely tell whether I'm a bougie booktuber or not. I definitely like to use my library over buying books, because why would I spend my own money when I could just read books for free? Plus, then I don't have to store them in my tiny little apartment that has no space and then worry about moving them, because I'm probably going to have to move next year. So I don't want to deal with that extra pain. It's just much easier for me to read books through my library than buy it and have to worry about physically keeping them and also using my money, because I don't make a lot of money and I need to save it. So even though I love books and I love collecting books and reading, I am not going to spend a lot of money on my book collection when I don't have to. Maybe in the future, when I'm in a more stable position, I will spend a little bit more on books, but as of right now, it's not something that I can see for myself in the near future. As for people I'm going to tag, I'm going to leave all of their information down in the description, and I will also probably tag them on Twitter so that they know. And other than that, I will see you later. Bye!